You may have learned that the reason for World War II was Germany's invasion of Poland on September 1, 1939. What if I told you it wasn't? The real reasons that gave rise to World War II you will discover now, in world military history. The year was 1870. Germany did not yet exist as a country. Instead, there was the Kingdom of Prussia along with other kingdoms and grand duchies of Germanic origin, which were not unified. On the other hand, the French Empire was weakened and isolated in Europe, after the consequences of the Napoleonic Wars. Politics at that time, in Europe, was the search for a balance of power between countries. However, France was weakened and the German leader, Otto von Bismarck, saw an opportunity to unify the kingdoms and grand duchies of Germanic origin, creating the German Empire. This did not please France, leading to disagreements. The situation worsened until a war broke out between France and the peoples of Germanic origin. It was called the Franco-Prussian War, which lasted from July 1870 to May 1871. After some 900,000 casualties in total on both sides, the Germanic peoples were victorious and the kingdoms and grand duchies of Germanic origin were unified. The German Empire is born, the cradle of present-day Germany. Humiliatingly for the French, the proclamation of the German Empire took place in the Hall of Mirrors of the Palace of Versailles, in the heart of France, in 1871. The territories of Alsace and Lorraine were taken from France and annexed by the German Empire. In addition to the humiliating proclamation at the Palace of Versailles and the loss of territories, the French were still obliged to pay immense compensation for the damage done to Prussia and to pay the costs of the German occupation. German troops remained in France until 1873, after the payment of reparations by France. All this generated immense resentment among the French people, who were waiting for the right moment to be able to take revenge. Therefore, Prussia was placed at the head of a unified Germany. Germany, in turn, came to have a central position in Europe's new system of international order, weakening the fragile balance between European countries. The new German Empire was stronger than neighboring countries. In 1914, 43 years after German unification, Archduke Ferdinand of the Austro-Hungarian Empire is assassinated in Sarajevo, Bosnia. Austria blames Serbia for the murder and decides to invade it. For this, it asks for and receives help from the German Empire, which guaranteed its full support, in all circumstances. This episode became known as the German blank check for the invasion of Serbia. Serbia was thus invaded by the forces of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. However, Serbia was protected from Russia. Russia, in turn, was an ally of France. In the blink of an eye, a new war began, where Germany and France once again found themselves on opposite sides. Thus began the First World War in 1914. The First World War lasted about 4 years and ended with the defeat of Germany and the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It was the long-awaited opportunity for revenge by the French. Again at the Palace of Versailles, in France, the treaty was signed that ended the war, establishing the retaking of Alsace and Lorraine by France, the imposition of limitations on the German armed forces and the imposition of heavy and humiliating war reparations for the Germany. The conditions imposed by the victors on Germany caused extreme poverty, lack of food and great resentment in the Germans. The United States, France's allies, still tried to reduce the conditions imposed on the losers, but the French did not allow the reparations to be reduced. Had they been reduced, they might have allowed the German people to pay with dignity, reducing their resentment. After the First World War, the German people suffered a lot. There was famine, unemployment, and hyperinflation in Germany. German inflation was only overcome in 1924, with the help of the Dawes Plan, offered by the Allied powers, with the offer of $200 million for the stabilization of the mark, the German currency. Even with the stabilization of the economy, the German people remained with the feeling of injustice and of having been humiliated beyond what was necessary by France. This resentment caused the German people to look for strong leadership that could bring Germany back to its central position in Europe. Thus, the ideal environment for nationalist ideas to emerge was born. It is at this moment that a failed painter takes the stage in Germany. Having served as a corporal in the German army during World War I, Adolf Hitler was wounded and hospitalized during the fighting, temporarily remaining blind due to chemical weapons. Leaving the hospital, Germany was defeated. His sense of revolt and his thirst for revenge against the French led him into politics, where his natural ability to speak won people over and drew crowds. Gradually, Hitler was uniting the German people around him. At the moment he thought fit, he decided to invade Poland in 1939 and occupy Alsace and Lorraine. As can be seen, the invasion of Poland was not the origin of the Second World War, but only its beginning. It was the consequence of grudges that started in the Franco-Prussian War, between 1870 and 1871. Hitler was also a product of this sequence of excesses and intolerance on both sides. Looking at the film of history, and not the photography of the moment, we can consider that the Franco-Prussian War, the First World War and the Second World War were interconnected conflicts, practically forming a long war that extended over 75 years, with intervals of unstable peace. See how the invasion of Poland was not the origin of the Second World War? Enjoy and write in the comments which of these three themes you would like to see in the next videos. The most famous Russian sniper of the Second World War. The creation of Panzer Armored Forces. Or how a Roman legion was formed. If you have liked this video, don't forget to press the like button, comment it and subscribe to the channel. Please share it with your friends. This is very important for producing more videos about world military history. See you in the next video. Goodbye.